Hey, it's Trader Rob. So, are you thinking about purchasing this bot once it's released? We'll get ready to be interviewed by the creator of the system in order for you to purchase it. That and more after the intro. And we're back. So yes, what I said is correct. If you guys are keep up to date on Robert Anderson's trading channel, you probably saw the video. If not, I'll put a link in the description so you can go in and watch it yourself. He created an update as far as a lot of people are obviously trying to purchase this trading bot, and it has been pretty much unavailable a few days after it was initially released. So I was able to purchase it on day one, and I have been using it ever since. Obviously, a lot of you have been watching my 30-day challenge, which we are in. We are in the green. We had a small red loss of $9 on on Friday. So that account currently sits at $2,196.08. So yeah, what am I talking about as far as being interviewed by the creator? Well, Bob came out with a video, stating that once he releases more subscriptions to this trading bot, in order for you to purchase it, he wants to personally interview the person who is going to be trading the system to make sure that they have at least some type of knowledge with his system. and, and to be honest with you, when I first saw that, I had to like press replay and watch it one more time because I'm like, there's no way that this guy is going to have the time to be interviewing people. But then, you start thinking about it and you're like, this is honestly a reason why I love the guy. I mean, it's what he's saying is actually makes a lot of sense because as you guys have heard me say many times, I think for you to purchase the system and for you to be used for something to be auto trading for you, you need to have some knowledge with the system to know it. I've always said, learn the system first manually, how to trade the system manually first. He's got all of the videos for free on his site. They're fantastic. Learn the system and then purchase either this indicator or this bot once it's released. What he said was if you go to his website, which I'll also link below, there is going to be a kind of a waiting list where you can put in your email and future updates on when this bot will be released for more subscriptions will come out. And then obviously, I don't know any details about how you're going to get interviewed, but if that's the case, if you're really looking to purchase this trading bot, I would 100% be studying up on the videos that you can find online. It's not a very difficult strategy, but there are some nuances to it that with time and with practice, you kind of start to see one, you're going to see some results, and number two, you will see why the bot is not taking some trades and it is taking others. And I believe it will make you a better trader. So that's one big update from the site. Second update is over the weekend, there was a release that was sent out last week. He called it kind of a major update where he wanted everyone to go in and delete the old strategy and re-input it with the new strategy, which is the same. It's the same system, but I'm assuming that there's some things coded in the back end to make things look or for it to perform better. So I was able to get that all done over the weekend. I uploaded again the new templates that, or at least the latest templates that I see. And what I like to do for those of you that are also using the system, what I have done is I have started to document every single template change that we have or that we're sent, for the simple reason that now you've got something to compare to a previous, let's say, version of the template. You can see what changes are done. And what I personally like is if there's a template setting that you have been extremely profitable with and something else is newer or new that's out, you might want to revert back to that old template for one reason or the other. That's a reason for me to say, let me at least document that. So I have that, and then what I do is I compare them. So I compare them to what is new. Now, the templates that I was trading on Friday were identical to the ones that I updated over the weekend. So I know I'm trading the most updated template. Now, a few things. After I reinstalled reinstalled the entire trading strategy, the trading bot, I have now noticed that I don't get any more of those duplicate labels on my trades. Obviously, these are right now, this is live. We are live in a cash account. So I'm hoping that we can take a trade here and I could just make sure that that is still accurate. So that seemed to fix that issue. And overall, he makes a lot of really good points that I've been also trying to communicate this with you guys. And one is I am doing a 30-day challenge. So I am taking every trade that the system is putting out there. Okay. So red news days, leading into news, after news, FOMC this week that I am going to be trading. The system will not be, I'm not turning anything off or on for those particular days. And he makes a good point because, and I've said it on my channel, even when I'm looking at it, I wouldn't have taken that trade because it's leading into news. I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have done that. Now, for the 30-day challenge, I leave everything on so I can be as the system and the trading can be as transparent as possible, and we can see what the system does in all types of conditions, in all market variants. Okay. Well, I say all, but it does. We're not talking about all. I mean, there obviously could be black swan events and some crazy things that happen in the market that we haven't seen. But in general, this is a good sampling of a lot of different types of days of trading. We've had a lot of chop. I haven't really seen many trend days, like really strong trend days, but there has been a lot of chop markets. And to be honest with you, we're up. We're up on the account almost 10%, a little less than 10%. So that's positive. The winners are bigger. So we have some pretty big wins that offset a lot of really small losses. And what do I think about that? Well, I personally feel that there has been many trades that I would not have taken that would probably have saved the account some money. There's actually been maybe a few where I said I wouldn't take this trade, and it's actually panned out to make money, full profit. So you take the good with the bad, but the way I look at it is I want the system and I want this channel to be as transparent as possible. That's why I'm trading this with cash live. And that is a good explanation of how I think that the system, how you can improve the results even from what I am doing by being a little bit subjective to what the market is giving you. So, if you're leading into a big news event, you can turn the long off and the short off, okay? Or just turn a strategy off completely and you don't trade. News comes out, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever time frame you think you're going to need to take to let the market kind of settle and get back into its rhythm, then you can restart the strategy again. So that's an idea. Now, also, you are taking into account that sometimes you're off on the shorts or you're off on the longs or you're off in general and you might miss a big move, So I mean it all comes with testing the system. The more days I trade it, the more comfortable I get with it. And you can start to see the real performance of the strategy. So I think time is a very important key element here. Now, with that being said, leading into Wednesday, which is going to be a big red news day for us, typically what I have seen historically is that we usually lead. FOMC has really turned into more of a positive day for trading. Maybe the news that comes out or the remarks that come out from the Fed are not positive, but it's been historically positive those days. Now, we have had obviously some red FOMC days, but one thing to remember is that a lot of those moves happened prior to the reports coming out. Okay? So yeah, you're going to see some really big whipsawing movement afterwards, but the real moves, I think the real tradable moves happen prior, and then afterwards you really got to let the dust settle and kind of see again, let the market get its rhythm again and then start trading it that way. So I'm hoping I get a trade here so that we can kind of review this one together. For those of you that take my oil trade did not work out this morning from the 8 to 9 a.m. session. I'm hoping I get another opportunity here at the 9 a.m. session. One thing that I would say is that a lot of slippage today on the short entry for that oil strategy. And but yeah, I mean it obviously took me out for my loss, and then just ripped straight downwards all the way to where my take profit would have been. So I don't know. I'll keep an eye on that. And my NASDAQ trade this morning worked. There is also going to be my NASDAQ, one of my two NASDAQ scalping strategy videos that a lot of you guys have been asking for is going to be released on the channel here today. Should be out somewhere around 2 or 3 o'clock in between there. So I know a lot of you have been asking for that. That one's going to be going out. It's a good one. It's a pretty systematic approach to trading the NQ, which, I mean, I'll be honest with you, the NQ right now seems to be the best instrument to trade. It's giving you really good size moves, at $20 a point on the full contract on the E-mini, there's some really sustained moves of 40, 60, 80, 100 points, where a lot of the other instruments have just been very they've been a little bit more difficult to trade. Obviously, I love oil and I love the NQ. Those are my two favorite. Now, one thing that I can give you some honest feedback from the system. Today's going to be the fifth day, so tonight my plan is to kind of do a recap video of the 5 days of trading this for the first week, and to give you guys some insight as to things on how I think you can improve this. For a lot of them that are already trading this, there's some ways I think that you can improve it. Your trading, which I am personally not doing on the challenge, because again, I don't want to change anything from how I started it to now, but there is some things there that you can really benefit, I think, from the long and the short options here on just taking certain types of trades based on what the market is giving you. So that trade recap will hopefully come out tonight. And then one other thing would be, so yeah, take a look for the NQ trade. I think that's a good one. The one thing also I would say is, if I had to do this all over again, and Bob even mentioned it yesterday, I think he was mentioning it for a different reason, for like more for account sizing. If you're trading this on a prop firm, he's like, hey, why don't you just concentrate on one instrument, get really good with that instrument for you to know you kind of start to feel the rhythm of it, which I'm a big believer of, and just trade the one instrument. Obviously, I'm trading all three, or I'm trading three, not all, but I am trading the NASDAQ, oil, and the Russell. To be honest with you, the NASDAQ, if I was trading just the NASDAQ in this challenge, we would, I'm sure, be up a lot more. So it's, I've been getting kind of cut out from the Russell and oil trades that the system has been taking. There's been a few profitable ones, obviously, but for me, the biggest moves have been with the Nasdaq, and that's kind of what I have been seeing in my own personal trading outside of this trading bot. It's been oil and it's been the Nasdaq. For me, the ES has gotten very difficult to trade. I used to think the smaller moves were better because there was so much volatility with the Nasdaq that I mean, honestly, I was like almost to the point where you were scared, especially when you're going in with like one E-mini contract or two E-mini contracts. It's those things can rip. I mean, yeah, you can make some really good money, but you can lose, and quick too, because it's, you don't need to be in a trade very long to get to 25 points going one way or the other. That's for damn sure. But what I ended up learning and what I ended up really liking about the Nasdaq is the fact that there are those big types of moves. There are those sustained types of moves where you can, strategies work. Your strategies will work when there is big time movement. A lot of strategies will work. So that's something that, I learned, and that's something that I have kind of evolved with throughout my trading journey over these last 3 years. So that to me is something that, again, if I would have done this all over again, maybe I would have, or let's take it in a different approach. After my 30-day challenge, my plan would be to continue to trade this bot. Obviously I want to see what the results are going to be for the 30 days, and there's a lot of other people that are trading this strategy, so collectively, I can see what a lot of people's results are. And just as my opinion right now, after the 30-day challenge, I could see myself trading this system every day, but probably on one instrument, maximum two. And Bob really covered the same thing in his video that came out. And again, he was talking mainly for, he was saying that, if you're coming in with a $25,000 prop firm, a 25K eval, it's going to be very hard to trade, two E-mini contracts of any of these, even one. Not to mention if you're trading three, that you're asking for a blow up of the account. Even at 50,000 eval account, I think would be difficult with two contracts. I'd probably be trading the system with only one. And again, if I'm on a 25,000, which TomSep doesn't even have, but I'm assuming they're talking about Apex. If you were at a $25,000 eval, I don't even think I'd be trading one E-mini. I would think I would probably be trading the micros. I think that would be something that, I think would be prudent to do, just to save your account. And yeah, you can have, if your first day you've got a huge green day, well, yeah, that's awesome. But it could have very easily been a red day for you, and boom, you're knocked out. And again, once you start, the real goal of getting funded with these prop firms, or eventually if you're a cash trader, you're obviously, once, let's just say that you're going through this prop firm account, or this the challenge, and you start trading reckless just to pass your challenge very quickly. Maybe you get lucky for a few days. Is that how you're going to trade when you're actually funded? Is that how you would have traded if this was real cash on the line? I mean, it almost makes me sick to see a lot of people just constantly resetting their Columbines and resetting their Apex accounts and adding accounts to blown up ones, and and it's like, well, why? If you're just going to be trading recklessly just to pass a challenge, you haven't learned anything. The real What I believe the real strength in these prop firm challenges and these eval accounts is that it's supposed to make you a better trader. That's the whole point, is that once you get to a funded status, or if you're trading real cash, I would be in a sim 1000% until you can be profitable in a sim for 30 days. I didn't listen to that warning when I got started. So I'm giving you guys some tips here that I didn't even listen to myself, and I wish I would have. Because eventually, when you're starting out, or maybe even if you've been in this game for a couple of years and are still struggling with it, there's a few things that you got to get right. One is you got to find a strategy that's got a a positive win rate of over 55%, or at least 50% if you've got a great risk to reward ratio. You got to find a strategy that works, and you got to stick to that strategy. Okay? Jumping around strategies to try to find the next best, or just because you had a one or two losing trades or losing days, that is never going to work. That's a recipe for disaster. Secondly, trade in the sim. If you want to trade in through a prop firm, whichever one you will go to choose, I think that's a great idea. I wish I would have done that in the beginning as well. But trade the eval account, the evaluation, or the Columbine, exactly how you would want to trade it when you are funded, or as if it was a cash account. Because one, your risk is going to get better. You're going to get more disciplined as a trader, which is something that I think we're all trying to achieve or to get closer to. And three, you really start to build a lot of really good qualities as a trader when you do things the right way. So, yes, you can shoot for the moons and you might hit it. You might hit the jackpot in 3 days, have 3 awesome days of trading, 5 days of awesome trading. Think about it. Was it luck? Was it your strategy just timed up perfectly to the market? You might have a fantastic, awesome strategy, which that's awesome. That's great that if you're able to find that little unicorn at the right time, that's great. But those would be my tips if I can start this all over again. And I think that I would be a much better trader even now, because I have seen it. I mean, I look at, I go through my journals, which is another thing. I used to hear that all the time on YouTube. Make sure you're journaling everything, and you're putting notes on how you feel during the trade, and where your train of thought was for that trade. And I'm like, man, that's a bunch of bull. It's who's got the time to be doing that? Well, the reason why you don't have time to journal is because you're over trading. I was putting in trades left and right, just thinking, seeing the charts and being like, okay, that's going up for sure. It's gonna hit resistance here, and we're gonna get a bounce. So I would and then we would get a little bounce, and then just go right back down, knock me out, and be like, okay, well, now's the time. Well, of course I don't have an opportunity to journal that, because I don't even have enough time between trades. That's how it used to be. You're going to see how easy it becomes to journal when you only have 3, 4, 2, 1 trade per day. It gets so now I go into my journal, which is on Excel, and yeah, I put in what I was thinking with the trade. One feature that I love with TradingView is that you can create a link of the snapshot of the exact chart that you're looking at. So instead of always doing a screenshot, putting it into Word or a PDF, this will just let me put that little link right next to the results of my trade and what I was thinking in that trade. And I do it after every single one. Now, I don't do it with the trading bot because, again, I put in my trades, my wins, and my losses, but the system is trading it for me. When I'm really speaking of, and if you're trading this manually, 100% do it. Things that I would document is what's the market doing? Is it a sideways market? Is it a trending market? Was there news on that day? How are you feeling that day? Did you have a shitty sleep and you're up and you're cranky and you want to, just get a huge hit on the market? Well, document that. That's how I learned. Typically speaking, I do not trade well on very high red news days. So, for instance, FOMC, PMI days, generally speaking, were very poor for me in my performance when I looked back. Now, granted, was I overtrading? Yes. Was I trading minutes after, or seconds after FOMC? Yes. And was that a dumb period to be trading? In my opinion, yes. I was not a good enough trader to be trading during those news events. Now, there are some, these YouTubers out there that have been trading a lot longer than I have very successful channels that you see them trading the FOMC and the news right afterwards, and they're killing it. I mean, they see things differently, and they're good at that. I was not. I was definitely not one of those traders. I was trying to catch these huge moves, but then here's the funny thing about the big moves, okay? You're trying to catch these big moves, but at the same time, when the move is going your way, your finger is on the trigger to close the trade, to try to take profit. Halfway to what your take profit might have been. That was me. Any second of a pullback, any sense, I see, green, 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 green. Second you get a red candle, you're like, oh shit, market's going to change. Because you've seen it so many times in your head. You've seen big moves, how they reverse right back down. And you're like, well, that's going to happen on this. What's going to happen on this trade. I'm going to get reversed out of this, and I'm going to lose even a little bit of this profit. So what do? You close the position out, only to see what happened. We all know it. It goes straight to your take profit, and it blows through there and even goes higher. Now, on the flip side, let's say that you've got your strategy, or screw your strategy. Let's just say that your feelings, your thoughts are, this market's gonna take a dump right here, and I'm gonna short it right after a news event. I'm gonna short it, and you get into a short. You've got your stop loss and your take profit set. Market rips upwards, knocks you out right away, or the trade lasts for a couple minutes, 5 minutes, and you're in some profit, you're back into break even, then you're negative, and you watch that thing all go all the way up and hit your stop loss. You have no worries about ending the trade early on your stop loss, but I'm not going to do that when I go to take my take profit. That is one change that I made. So now, for those of you that have watched kind of how some of my trade setups work out, I've got a take profit and I got a stop loss. And I am waiting for one of those two things to hit. That's it. I've taken my emotion out of it. I know that I'm trading size, the appropriate size for what my account has in it and what I feel comfortable with losing. When I'm looking at the chart this morning, perfect example. I lost, give me a sec. I lost on my morning oil trade $112. Okay. When when my when I was looking at the graph and I had my stop loss there of $112 and it went up to 80, I was down 80, it's down 100, went back down to 80. There was no inclination of me hitting close position at that point. I was not nervous. I was not anxious. It's a trade. It's just a trade. And I know statistically that trade is going to usually work out in my favor more times than not. So I've got to take that trade when I see it, and I got to see it through for the good or the bad, because if you take it for the good and you don't take it for the bad, or you take it for the bad but you don't take it for the good, the strategy ain't going to work. You're not going to make money. At least I know I can't. So how do we relate this back to the Goldline trading bot? Well, there's a lot of instances trading this system where, man, I got really close to closing the position. Or I would want to have closed the position because I'm like, man, that take profit to me looks way out there. Like, there's no way that the market's going to get to that point. Oh, how do I know that the market's not going to get to that point? Yes, of course, you can look at your pivots. You could look at your previous support and resistance zones, supply and demand zones, and you could kind of come up with your own analysis of where you think that market's going to bounce. But you guys have seen it. You've seen my trades where I'm in a trade and I'm like, man, that to me looks like a very that looks like to me like a target that we're not going to be able to get to because there's resistance here, there's going to be resistance here. And what happens? Market blows through all of that, hits your take profit, and you're thinking to yourself, well, wow, that just doing that ended up working because we let the system, we let the strategy do what it needs to do and let the trade get to its finality. So those are just a few things that I wanted to share with you guys because I think it's important. The trading game is hard. If you're trading futures, trading any markets is difficult. But I think once you start feeling a little bit more comfortable and confident in your system, you're trading within a position size that you also feel comfortable with, man, you can try it in sim. Is the emotion in sim trading? No, it's not. But there is some emotion in these these prop firm evaluations, where if I could have done it all over again, I'd be more than happy to pay the $50 a month or whatever it's going to cost for you to be in that evaluation to try to get funded, because there is a little bit of skin in the game. You're trading on a sim, but at the time you're trading towards a goal. So and the goal would be, one is to not blow up the evaluation account and to try to get funded. So again, I think there's a little bit more skin in the game to a prop firm evaluation than there is to a sim. But I would 100% start that and back test the shit out of all your strategies. It drives me nuts, just seeing people trade on something that they just learned and they haven't even back tested it at all to kind of see what it's really doing out in the wild. because things look great on YouTube. Everybody makes everything look like the holy grail of trading, and we know that it's not. There's a few channels out there that have provided some real value and some trade ideas that you kind of need to formulate into your own trading style. So that's what I got. I'm gonna leave this strategy obviously running the entire day. It's running on 2 micro contracts of the Russell, which is here on the right, oil, which is in the middle, and then the NQ, which is over here. Let me see if I can open these up just to make them easier to see. Now, when I open them up, obviously you can't see more, like you can't really see the history of what the chart is doing. But you can pull this up on your own charts to kind of see, what you don't see on this chart, everything to the left. It looks like it's kind of capturing the last 15 to 20 minutes of the trades. But when I expand it, I think it's easier to see, on the screen. So, and again, I will do the edits on all of the trades that the system does today, and then I'll kind of give you some final commentary as to how the day performed and the finalization of our first 5 days of trading the system. So hopefully you guys enjoy what I'm putting out here, and please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And also look out for the NASDAQ trade strategy that's coming out here today. See you in a little bit.
Order submitted.
All right, so as you can see, we got activated here into a setup on the NASDAQ, and looks like we've got let's see if we get into a trade here. So if we get this push upwards here, this will probably is going to cancel out this trade. Let's see how this next candle here forms. Okay, so we still have an active trade. Let's see if we can pierce the low of the candle right next to it with the red circle on it. Now if we close higher here without piercing any of the five minute red line, then that will cancel out our trade. Looks like we might get in. Let's see, what does price action want to do here? Let's see here now what happens at the close of this candle. Canceled. Order's canceled. And we can see that that's canceled here because it closed up higher than our entry. So that canceled out our order there for that short.
Order submitted.
Okay, and now we got a setup in oil on a touch to the 1 minute goal line. So that you can see that's that purple candle there that is piercing that 1 minute goal line. Now this next candle, which is in green right now, needs to either close below the 1 minute goal line, or some part of the body or wick needs to be touching that for this to still be a validated setup. So let's wait to see. I believe this takes a candle or two. So there you go. So that one's still a validated setup because it's still one part of the, there's a wick or a body that is still touching that 1 minute goal line. So we are still in a good setup as far as a pullback. Now we need this candle, this next candle, to do the same thing. It either needs to right now come down and pierce our short entry, which it might do, or it needs to continue, it needs to close with some part of its body or wick still touching that 1 minute goal line. So hopefully you guys can kind of understand how the system is taking these orders, which again follows Robert Anderson's strategy to the T. All right, so our order moved up here again. Still in a valid 1 minute gold line trade because we are still, that second purple candle is still touching the 1 minute gold line. And let's see if we can get a fill here. Remember, we need this. We're looking for a short in oil. And for that short to happen, it would need to pierce through that short entry order here. Now on a 1 minute gold line, I believe we've got about 6 ticks of stop loss, which is pretty tight. But let's see here where we get filled at.
Order submitted.
Okay, so we're in a trade. I was actually at my desk still, so I was able to open this up and expand it a little bit to make it easier on us. So we got in at a fill price of 82.84. Stop loss is at 82.78.
Order canceled.
All right, so we got stopped out. We got stopped out for, looks like a loss of 6 ticks. On to the next one.
Order submitted.
Okay, and now we can see that another trade setup is coming up here in oil. Looks like we've got a pullback
Order
into
submitted.
the 5 minute gold line, and we're in a trade. So that was a quick trade there. Entry is at 82.67. We've got a stop loss of 82.77, which is 10 ticks. So that increases over the 1 minute gold line because this is a 5 minute gold line. So he likes to give this a little bit more space. And we've got a take profit of 82.07, which is 60 ticks of profit, which is what the system would be looking for on this pullback. Let's see what happens here. All right, so we're in a little bit of profit here. Let's see what happens here. Don't like the look of this price action here. Come on, make up your mind here. Come on, oil. What do you want to do? What does oil want to do here? Okay, so it looks like order got reduced down on the stop loss.
Order canceled.
Well, it tried. It fought for a little bit there, but we did take a small loss there on oil at the for our second trade. All right, let's see what else we can find.
Order submitted.
Okay, and here we got a setup on the NASDAQ it would be looking for a long. We get a nice pullback here into the 5-minute gold line, which is now that black candle that has changed from a red candle to black, which means that, hey, we've got a trade set up on the 5-minute gold line. So let's see what the next candle looks like, what the price action is, and I will give you some explanation for this trade. So as of right now, we are obviously not in a trade. It's just a setup. That's why the long entry is so high up, because it's getting ready to activate if it works. And I don't think that this one is going to work for the reason that, okay, it canceled right there. And this was a question that I saw today in the group. Some people were wondering why this didn't activate here. And here's your reasoning. Is you've got your candle that pierces your 5-minute gold line in this case. Well, what Bob's looking for in his strategy is for the next candle. He's looking for some spacing, so he doesn't want that candle to have in this case, this yellow orangey candle. He does not want to have a higher high than his activation candle. He would like to have seen this close underneath the high of the black candle, and then let the next candle breach the top of this orange candle. That would have got us into a trade. So that's the explanation there as to why the bot did not take this trade. It canceled it, and it does follow his strategy pretty closely. This is a pretty good wrap up of the day. So we were able to see what trades the system took. And in total, we had today a loss. Let me actually just throw on the screen straight from our NinjaTrader website. This is our live cash account that we are trading all day with on this challenge. Today we took a loss of $30.08. Those are the trades that we went over. So right now the account, which started at $2,000 5 days ago, stands at $21.66, and that's pretty much including all of our commissions and everything. So my overall thought about today's trading session was it was a pure chop fest. I mean, it's kind of been a really nasty market the last 4 or 5 days that the market has been trading. It's just been trading sideways. We obviously have FOMC coming out on Wednesday, and in just my opinion, usually you see a lot of choppiness leading into that. I'm hoping tomorrow, especially maybe in the late afternoon or early afternoon, hopefully we start to see a little bit more movement, and we can start to hopefully take some better trades. Today, the system, even though we lost $30, again, not a huge hit. We really didn't have any winners today, but the market was just really not, it was just not a good market to trade in. And again, I'm leaving this trading all day long. It's going to take every single trade. I believe that we did miss maybe 1 or 2 trades between the noon and 1:30 time frame central. We might have missed a few trades there, just because of some issues that I was having with Ninja, and I keep stating that, but they really are a good platform. But I'm just been having, so I've got I've sent over some of the logs that I've had, and to see kind of maybe if they have some recommendations for me. So there was maybe a one trade there that we missed, but overall, and from everything that I've been hearing in our group today, everybody same results. Obviously, if you're trading big size, 1 or 2 of the E-mini contracts, your losses were amplified today. But I don't think that there was any huge winner to offset that, and that's okay as long as in the end of the day the winners are outweighing the losers, which in our case with our challenge it still is. I'm very positive about that. So hope you guys are enjoying what you're seeing on the channel. If there's anything else that you would like for me to add, today I was able to do a little bit, some commentary during some of the trades when I'm off screen, which I thought was, I'm hoping you guys are gonna like that. And with that being said, let's see how tomorrow, day 6 of our challenge goes. My plan is to do a 5-day recap video. It's going to be real short, kind of giving you some things that if you're currently trading the system, either manually or through the bot, I think there's going to be some helpful tips for people that are currently trading it, and then there'll be some tips for people that are even thinking about maybe adapting this type of strategy to your everyday trading. So with that being said, good day, and I'll see you guys soon.